Thanks a lot, Mrs. Clara Maveglia, for inviting us to this absolutely extraordinary place. This is a place that we love. We are so fond of. We are really used to this place, thanks God, because we had the chance, thanks to Patrizio and Paolo, to host here the philosopher Massimo Cacciari for 3-4 years. We had some wonderful evenings and conferences here. My name is Ausilia Veneruso. His name is Riccardo Esposito. We are man and wife. We became man and wife over time. But we are, above all, motivated by a strong passion, our love for our land, for our island. We had different separate lives. We had a chance to work in different fields, but we met. And after a sort of political, social meeting, and cultural meeting, we then decided to found the La Conchiglia. What is La Conchiglia? La Conchiglia is a bookshop. In 1981, we were in a very, very little place with a very nice vault, and in the historical center of Capri, 12 square meters. But in 12 square meters only, we were able to do some extraordinary things. For example, Villa Lisis, which is today a heritage, a common heritage of the island of Capri, we were able to turn it to a common heritage. It was a destroyed house. It had been built by Baron Fersen. It then decayed after his death. It collapsed in the opium hole. And one day someone came and said, they are uprooting the trees in Villa Lisis. We said, no, please, let us make a petition. Let us hold an exhibition in these 12 square meters. We were able to collect 1,000 signatures for a petition that we addressed to the Undersecretary for Cultural Heritage, and a constraint was put on this house, which has remained unaltered, and that today it is a museum, and we are very happy of that. Now, the bookshop becomes then a culture center, this very small space. One had to come and look for us, but in that space we were visited by so many people. It was really unimaginable. We were visited by extraordinary figures and outstanding people. But at that point we said we must go to the center of the island. We need to become bigger. We must get bigger. So we looked for another space, the bookshop we have in Via delle Botteghe today. I pass the floor because I get moved very much when I think of our story. Let's go on. In 1988, we moved to the bookshop that we have now in Via Botteghe, de Botteghe. In 1989, we found the publishing house. We have published 400 books with authors like James Hillman, Erri De Luca, La Capria, Marcel Detienne, and many others. Then in the 90s, we found a cultural association. In 1996, we created a bookshop in Via Camerellis against the appropriation, so to say, of this street by so many great designers. Then we create a bookshop in Rome. At the beginning of the years of the 2000, we work a lot with our cultural association. We organize a lot of events with Massimo Cacciari, Umberto Eco, Marcel Detienne, James Hillman. All they were all together for this event, which is called Capri, the places of the word and the words of gods. I mean, in these events, we try to point out that gods and goddesses of the Greek world are still here, are still present in our culture. Mars, Jupiter, rather than Venus, are still here with us. I should quote the wonderful statement by James Hillman when he inaugurated the Certosa, his speech about Venus. So an intense activity. This is the first time ever that we are telling our story, and it is very strange to tell the story of one's own life or one's own work and activity. Sometimes one might seem presumptuous, or it might seem that we are boasting many things, but we forget about so many things. But it was a wonderful adventure. We amused ourselves so much. We didn't make so much money, but it was an intertwining, as if the title of a Lina Wertmüller's film, an extraordinary story of love, social commitment, and publishing. Because in addition to being man and wife, we share really a unique experience. So La Conchiglia is a sort of a signature which covers three realities: the bookshops, the enterprise, I mean the firm, and the cultural association. There has never been a split or a separation between the entrepreneurial commitment and ethics since the very beginning, because since the very beginning we were socially engaged and politically engaged. For us, it was natural and clear that the bookshop, the cultural association, and also the publishing house are per se a special kind of entrepreneurship. We gave up a lot. We might found a restaurant or whatever. We would earn a lot of money like that. So it's already a precise choice in terms of entrepreneurship. But we did that spontaneously because it was in line with our commitment. All our bookshops have also become places for social aggregation, for petitions to be put forward to defend the natural arch, I mean, some sites of natural beauty, or other situations, other sites. Why am I saying that? Well, because actually we might say that we sort of have established a special relationship with Capri. Paolo was describing the cultural and architectural landscape and heritage of Capri, but now we believe that this island gave us a lot, and we owe a lot to this island. This island sort of gives rise to a sort of religion. Let's use this strange word. Even though we are totally secular, non-religious, we believe that we are worshipper of this Capri religion. Let's use this strong term. I mean by this that this island, please interrupt me whenever you want, whenever you like. We were born as entrepreneurs based on a firm belief that the future for this island, the right model development for this island lies in its past. Is rooted in its past. When at the beginning of the 18th century, it was not only a glamorous place, but also a place for arts, for culture, rich of culture. By our activity, by our publishing house, we wanted to make available to everybody the tools for knowledge, because the island of Capri is a collective, commonly shared heritage, not only for the inhabitants of Capri, but for the whole of mankind. And or as early as in the 80s, the island I mean, there was a turning point which was already heralded and felt by Cerio in 1922, which tended to a trivialization, a homogenization of the island, which is turning it into a sort of seaside resort only. Instead, this island is endowed with a soul. Let's say that at this moment we have a title about to be published by our publishing house. It's a small book, a short story written by, just help me, by Wells, H.G. Wells, entitled Dream of Armageddon. This writer, at the end, the protagonist at the end of the 19th century imagines that he had a dream, and he tells about the island of Capri, and in 1890 says that Capri is becoming a platform available to ferry boats, just one big hotel. It is turning into one big hotel. We will publish this book, and we will carry out a specific analysis on this discourse, because ethically we must stress this point. The role played by a bookshop, by a cultural association, by a publishing house is an ethical role. When we started, I want to go back to the beginning. When we started in Capri, you wouldn't find not even one book about the history of Capri, because there was another bookshop which unfortunately was closed down at that time because they moved. It happened to us too. We were in Via Camerelle. We had to give up that extraordinary space because the rent went up, soared up, so you wouldn't be able to pay that rent. But now we are very happy to work where we are, and we are ready to open a gallery, art gallery, a sort of multi-purpose space. You are all invited to come and have a glass of wine or a coffee and read something, because we will have a sort of literary coffee there. We are going to set up a literary coffee there, if we are able to do so next year. So first of all, we said, at the beginning of the 20th century, there was this bookshop in the main square, which was called L'Arcadia, and then it disappeared. No, we said, no, it's a duty for us to make this choice and create this bookshop. We have published a lot. We have disseminated so many means for knowledge, because we have a precise idea in our mind about this island, an island endowed with a soul. But this soul has been created by the thousands of words that have been written about this extraordinary and beautiful island. This island is always angry for words. It's hungry for words. It's always always hungry. It's devouring words almost. Our relationship with Capri is always based upon a pessimism of reason and optimism of will, of our will. We're sure that the island is going through a very difficult moment. Ausilia was speaking about this incredible foreboding of H.G. Wells, this sort of vision of the island as a platform where thousands of people can land. And the risk is out there, it's true. The island can become a big commercial platform. Yes, in fact, Professor Bonito Oliva was talking about the crowd in Marina Grande when it was impossible to take the bus this morning. And yes, this is a danger, a real danger. But another danger, which is not only that of turning the island into an enormous platform available to thousands of people, but also this creeping trivialization of the island. And we feel that this island just to borrow a sentence from a great writer who's been coming and visiting Capri, who wrote books for our publishing house, Raffaele La Capria, before being visited, it must be dreamt of. We must dream of Capri before coming here. This island cannot be only visited, it must be imagined, it must be dreamed. And it can be a place where everybody can find his or her own dimension. But we are lucky because we were lucky enough to have a son, Vincenzo, who inherited our passion. And so he keeps working in Capri, but also in winter in Rome. But above all, we have a group of people, young girls and ladies, who are very much motivated and ethically motivated. In conclusion, we must stress again the same concept I was mentioning before. Such events as this one and other events, many events that are held in Capri, are important because the problem in Capri is this sort of self-referential attitude, because islands tend to be self-referential. But Capri, since Capri is a collective heritage, it does not belong to the Capri inhabitants only. Capri must have the chance, thanks to such events as this one, to get out of this inward-looking attitude and this inward-looking trend. It is important to establish this model where this extraordinary entrepreneurial heritage. We are here in this wonderful hotel. We have a wonderful example of enlightened entrepreneurship, like the entrepreneurship proposed and practiced by Paolo Signorino. But this must be linked to the spiritual dimension of the island, because the discourse must always be closely connected, must interconnect the big role played by Capri as a capital of international tourism, but also as a center of artistic and cultural production. Thank you.